I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right then. Good morning. 6:53 a.m. and it's October the 7th. Shout out to Queen Sunkiss. What's good? Just a little bit sleepy right now. But I watched two videos just as I came home from work because I'm sleepy and I just came home from work and I'm just going to talk about something. The links is in the description box, and this is where I have these the copyright fair use thing here. I'm going to respond to something, and what I'm going to say is it's too late. I'm going to say you are too late. Okay, because you helped fed into this. Now I'm gonna begin with the person who I don't like. I'm gonna begin with a person who I have a problem with since Obama's election. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and let me go ahead and put this up, right? And that's Glenn Beck. Okay, I have a major problem with Glenn Beck. And I'm gonna say this to Glenn Beck: if any of his fans decided to see this channel, which I doubt, but if there's an odd chance, I'm gonna say, well, you helped caused it. Yes, you did. Talk about the national divorce. So let me go ahead and play this. And it's under the fair use, by the way. I already put it up.
things like national divorce. People are saying, let it all burn. We need a great reset.
Now, the person who said that belongs on your side. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been saying this for at least I want to say at least 3 years at least, that we need a national divorce. So I hope you attach names to quotes that is being said.
As if we're talking about a new season of television. But we are not. Let me be very, very clear of what we are talking about. That must never be considered. I want to hit this.
Okay, that's fine. But you're gonna have to turn to terms to what you helped put out, though. See 2 ambulances. Y'all have to bear with me. I see 2 ambulances. What the? Must be a car wreck or something. Hope it ain't that. Hope things are okay. Whoa, it's about 3 of y'all. Anyway, let me get back to where I was at, because that kind of scared me right there. Anyway, let me get back to where I was at.
Civil war, etc., etc. We are not talking about a season of television that you watch from your home when you're talking about things like this. We are talking about your life, your ordinary, miraculous, taken for granted life ending.
Hey everybody, my name is Chess.
And the problem is, right? The problem is that
grew up knowing, believing in, having the opportunity to have, be, do, over. It won't change. It ends.
Right. But the problem is with what you just saying is, again, you're not making personal responsibility because you helped played a part in this. You helped played a part in this foolishness we have to do, that we're dealing with in today's time. Daddy, can you plug the hole? Happened in 2011. Or was that 2010? I forgot which year it was. Oh, this person is a socialist. President Obama is a socialist. Now since President Obama is a socialist, a Marxist, now if we call Donald Trump a fascist, now it's open season. Since Charlie Kirk has been assassinated, now we can't call or criticize or critique President Trump for being a fascist, because that will be, quote unquote, calling for his own, calling for violence. You see, you won't call that out on your end. And I have a problem with what you just said in this video. The way I see it is, it's disingenuous at best. Now, I'm being diplomatic. I'm being very diplomatic as I'm talking. Right? I'm being very diplomatic. But you helped created all of this. Now, Jason Whitlock works for you. Jason Whitlock works for you, and you hired Jason Whitlock as a distraction because we all know, though, you got called a racist many times, and then you're saying this now. But Jason Whitlock is hired by you, and you can't sit there and understand why people have a problem with you, whether they are left or a leftist, or if they are from the mainstream of black society. Let's not forget, a lot of your people at your radio show in Fort Worth, the Fort Worth, Dallas area. I believe though you up in Arlington, but ever since the Kamala Anthony thing, many people in your try to prejudge Kamala Anthony as a thug, a criminal, a scum, a public enemy #1. Someone to be despised and even though he doesn't have a fair trial at this point. But now you're pleading with America not to have this uprising that you are predicting of a second civil conflict. But people have been telling you, Glenn, you might want to tap down on what was coming out of your mouth. Whether that is your conspiracy theories, whether that was your closet racism, your subtle racism that you be playing. You can't have both ways. Now all of a sudden, though, y'all created the monster. Y'all are Dr. Frankenstein. Now y'all created a monster. Now we're trying, and with the death of Charlie Kirk, now though we're trying to figure out society when I say we, I'm talking about as Western society, American society, we're trying to figure out how to take that beast that's trying to crack open. That beast is locked up in that bottle, but he's trying to crack open that bottle, crack open the top, the cap, and we're trying to weld and close that cap shut before he completely exit out of this bottle. Yet it was your rhetoric that helped created this. It ain't just the left. Your side did it too. All right. Your side did it too. And I would go ahead and add more, play more clips of it, but there's too many ads on here. But there was some point that you made. I'm looking at you like, well, you helped created it. What's going on, Raider? Going on with you? Shout out to you. But let me go on and move on to another channel, right? Me going to another channel. It's somebody who I somewhat align myself with, someone I mostly can understand. And I have a problem with what she stated, right? I got a problem with what she stated. So some of it, what I have a problem with. I'm not aware of the Purple Revolution. I heard some of it, but I'm not fully aware. So I'm not going to speak on something. Well, I'll say it like this. I'm not going to speak on it entirely because I don't know. I don't have the entire information about it. But based on what she's saying, I'm gonna base my opinions solely on what at this point on what based on the context of what she's saying in this video of what is the purple revolution. But anyway, let's keep it moving. And let me stop right there. Right, they've been bamboozled and everything. I would like to ask these people who now who's now waking up and seeing the problem. I'm going to say this to the people who just woke up and see what's going on. I'm sorry. People told y'all this was going to happen. You was told. People showed documents from Project 2025. Project 2025, Project 47. They all came from the Heritage Foundation. Y'all didn't want to read it. Y'all don't want to look it up. Y'all didn't want to research. So now all of a sudden, because federal troops is entering into some of y'all cities, like Chicago, like Portland, like Memphis, and yes, sooner or later they will be in Philly. Because a certain law that was passed in 1878 has been broken. Now I know somebody say, well, BIGJ, what about Washington, D.C.? Washington, D.C. is run by Congress and the president. They don't have a state government. So you know, and I completely agree. Washington, D.C. should not become a state. Okay, because I believe though it ruins the balance of power. Because James Madison and James Monroe was right about the federal capital should be by itself out of a state. But anyway, I agree with the founding fathers on that, right? So, but anyway, but using the military to going only in certain locations for political reasons is not about. It's not about. Yeah, but it's not about. It's not about public safety. It's not about. No, all this is about is politics. Selling old scores. Going after certain city officials because they happen to be of a different political party, and in way I see it, and of a different race, or in a different gender, because some of these mayors are run by some of these cities are run by African American or Hispanic women. The demographics that normally don't vote for MAGA. It's too late for y'all to change because we told you. So if the premise of the Purple Revolution is for the left and the right to combine, listen, it's too late now. That's the way I see it. But anyway, let me keep it moving. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. What happened? What happened? Wait. What happened? Oh, hold on. Let me put this back up. Put this back up. Because I'm really addressing her. Anyway.
Versus down. They're just not realizing it. And they're realizing it because Donald Trump's policies are tagging their asses. They are suffering.
Right. You're right.
Do you know what Microsoft GCC?
I don't care.
And that suffering has helped them to open their eyes.
And I believe it's too late.
There's another hashtag, the awakening. Black people, I really don't think this has anything to do with us.
Well,
because
and this is my problem right there. Right. I have a problem with this idea, right, that black people should stay out of shit, right? But I'm seeing ICE agents dragging black people out of beds. ICE agents in Chicago is grabbing some random black person, not even reading their rights. You know, it really angers me, right? Well, I'm not angered right now. I'm not angry right now, but I get so frustrated. Well, frustration would be a better term. I get so frustrated when I hear black people, right, saying it's none of our business. Well, it is our business. But it is our business because, in my opinion, a lot of these black conservatives will use Chicago and vote for this president to get rid of the quote unquote brown people under the false premise of he would get a job, under the false premise of jobs, and under the false premise of security, not knowing who sent. I'm talking about in the context of Chicago, in the context of New York and Boston. Most of your illegals came from Texas, came from I don't want to say detention centers. I want to say concentration camps, but detention centers in Texas. Those people was already rounded up. They was already locked up. So instead of being sent back home to Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and anywhere else in Latin America, the governor of Texas, the governor of Arkansas, the governor of Florida sent these people to Chicago, to Boston. There are documents and statements. And it also came out of the person's mouth, these governors' mouth, saying it. So you can't say, let's turn Chicago red when it's a red governor from Florida, a red governor from Arkansas, and a red governor of Texas taking these illegals and ship them where you at. And you over here talking about how the Democratic Party was a party of slavery. Y'all out here sounding stupid out here. But anyway, I digress because I'm about to go deep and hard in the paint on that. But to say it's not black people's business. No, it should be people's business. But I'm allow Miss Tabitha to go ahead and continue, because I'm gonna go around that block again later on, hopefully.
Talking about coming together for their rights, human rights, those types of things. We've always been on that. Every time we stepped into the voting booth, we were voting for everyone, including racist MAGA Republicans. We knew when we went into the voting booth on November 5th, we knew Donald Trump's policies was going to rip this country apart. We knew that if Donald Trump got back into office, that MAGA would be hurting. They went into the voting booth thinking that Donald Trump's policies was only going to be hurting us, the immigrants. They went into the voting booth to vote for policies to hurt us. Now they're learning what we were saying. Donald Trump's policies will hurt everyone. And so now they're afraid of losing their rights. Now they're afraid of not being able to pay their bills. Now they're afraid of not being able to put food on the table.
See, I'm gonna say something, right? I'm gonna add on to what she said. I'm gonna add on to what she said here. A lot. If you watch a lot of these MAGA channels, like I do, like the Manosphere, like the Christian channels, she's right. People are voting for out of fear, and they're voting out of hate. Hate and fear is what they're voting for. But make no mistake about it, the left is doing it too. And there's one thing I wish the left would stop. I wish there was like two things I wish the left would abandon. There's two policies I wish the left would stop would start abandoning. Yes, the Manosphere voted because they see no way out. They think that if we can get women, the MGTOWs, the Manosphere, the Red Pill community, they voted for Trump as a lick back at women in general. The Christian conservatives, they voted for Trump so that they can be in league with the Zionists in Israel, and out of their fear of Islam. You see, the evangelical community have issues that they themselves don't want to look in the mirror, or why they're having problems, why the church attendance has been dropping. They don't want to talk about that. What they do is they spread a fear to get you back in church, and using the second coming narrative from the book of Daniel, and also the book of Revelation, to get you in check because of the quote unquote evil Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, or in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or even down here in Texas, because with all the mosques that's being built around Dallas and Houston. So, and also the population decrease as well. They vote out of fear and vote out of hate, but also say, like I said again, liberals vote out of hate and fear too. but I'm gonna spin the block on that in a minute. But I'm gonna let her continue.
And so they want to come together. They want to unify to try to beat this regime, try to hold on to whatever rights they have, to be able to put food on the table. They want to come together to fight against the elite at the top in the Donald Trump regime. But we've always been on that. This is a revolution amongst themselves. This is a conversation that they need to have amongst themselves. I think we just need to sit back and continue to live life and do what we've been doing. We've always been on the right side of things. We've always seen Donald Trump and all of those before him what they were about. We tried to tell them.
And the problem I have, with this analogy, it's like when after the election that you heard black women talk about we're going to set things out. I have a problem with that because once the fighting among the white population stops, you might be keen on who's going to be the leading after who's going to be the leader after the two white factions, or I should say two non-black factions has been, which one is the winner. I believe that I believe we have an invested interest on who wins. If there's Godzilla and there's King Kong, right? You might we need to determine which one, and we have an invested interest. But anyway, I'm gonna let her keep on going.
The one guy with the Purple Revolution handle, I just watched him do a video holding himself accountable for how he has behaved as a Trump supporter. He's holding himself accountable.
And I'm gonna say it like this: I, for one, is not going to believe that, because it took y'all 9 months to finally realize what's going on. It took y'all 9 months, right? It took y'all nine months, and people who've been ridiculed and and bullied and everything else, telling the truth about what's going on. Now all of a sudden, you all see the light. It's kind of like the people if you read the scriptures, when Noah was telling everybody the flood is coming, come help me build these ships. And then when Noah finally built the ships, and you start seeing the water rising, and everybody was running to Noah, and God closed the door. We at this moment where the door is being closed in Western society. I, for one, don't have no hope for the future, right? I don't. If you tell me this 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I would have hope for society. I don't. Especially what happened after Charlie Kirk. It sped, with the murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I see things being escalated. You start seeing an escalation. When I see people shooting at immigrants at ICE installations, When I see ICE dragging people in the middle of the night off the streets. When I see white people trying to barge into black churches or bomb threats at HBCUs. No, y'all should have came to Jesus earlier. Now, since you start seeing the quote unquote rapture, well, it's too late.
He is apologizing. He has called out black people, apologizing to black people and other people. But even though their goal is to unify, to topple the regime, what steps do you plan to take in order to do that? They don't want to make it political. I saw one guy say, it's not about politics, not about policy. Well, how do you plan to topple the regime?
See, that's why right there is the argument. Now, again, I'm only judging this from the premise of her argument. So I have to look at who and what is the Purple Revolution. But based on her argument, based on what she just put out, I'm going to say the Purple Revolution is full of crap. This is political. There's no other way around it. All of this is political. Certain towns can't be funded because they won't give money and funding to Israel. Certain locations can't get funding because they voted against the winner of an election. FEMA is being cut off solely for people who voted for the occupant of the White House. Colleges and universities being closed or defunded because of who they favored. So yes, politics, everything. Any person you said is not political, that should be the first thing. That should be the first thing in anybody's mind saying, well, that's a fake. Then therefore they're fake.
How do you plan to hold on to your rights? You have to vote in order to do that. You have to make your voice heard. So you don't want to talk about politics. You don't want to talk about that. But how do you plan to do that? In the end, he said, by any means necessary, whatever they need to do. Okay, well that includes voting.
This is my problem with this argument. She thinks that voting is the only remedy to the problem, right? And this is one of my main reasons why I have a problem with the black church. I extend this to the black church fault as well, because the black church for the past 60 years, right? Past 65 years, or I should say 55 years, I should say, has took up the mantle of the Southern Leadership Conference. idea about nonviolence. And the Southern Leadership Conference was the organization that Dr. King created, and Dr. King's tactic was nonviolence. So because of our aberration of Dr. King and the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s, and into the early part of the 70s, we sit there and attach ourselves to nonviolence, and we try to be anti-gun. We're pro gun control, rather than, and here she's talking about rights, right? She's talking about rights this and rights that. Well, I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro gun rights at this point. Based on what's going on, I'm pro gun rights. Nobody at this point, since what happened to Charlie Kirk, and since the rhetoric out of the right wing is so dramatic, I said y'all might want to be carrying for your own protection, especially what happened when Dylan Roof shot those 10 Christian soldiers. I call them soldiers, them 10 churchgoers in South Carolina. Or like when Frank Scales try to enter into Mother Bethel Church in a few weeks ago in Philadelphia. Okay, so you got to be armed, because sooner or later, after they get rid of the Hispanics or chip away at the Asians, they're going to use the poor whites to fight against the black population. Since you said this is a top-down issue, not a left and right issue. But anyway, let's keep it moving.
That includes looking at policy. So the one guy, he makes more sense than some of the other videos that I've seen. I saw another video where the guy was talking about human rights for all. That means for immigrants in this country. That means for members of the LGBTQIA plus community. That means members of the black community. He went down the line. Human rights for all. All lives are to be respected.
Right. Now I'm glad you said that. Right. I agree with you almost everything you said. But this is where the hate and fear comes in from the left, right? This is where the hate and fear part comes from the left. The problem with the left, the reason why people did not vote, or some of the reasons why people did not vote for the left or vote for the Democrats last November, is because of one of the issues you raised. And I'm not talking about gays. I'm not talking about lesbians. I'm not talking about bisexuals. People voted against the Democrats solely on the basis that you cannot answer the question of what is a woman. When Judge Jackson, who was in a Biden appointee to the Supreme Court, could not answer the question of what is a woman, when you put out a put out a man who was a man 5 years ago working for the Obama administration, and then and 5 years later he's wearing a dress and dress in heels and rename himself after a woman. And then we got people talking about there's no such thing as male and female. There's no such thing as two genders. And you got boys playing in girls' sports and people going up into bathrooms, which is not assigned to their gender. And anybody who questions on that realm, and it has nothing to do by hating transsexuals at all. It's just on the purpose of what is and in science, trying to deny what is science. XX versus XY. And the people who question it gets canceled. So you can't just blame it on the right. You have to blame it on the left too.
So some of them get it, but some of them talking about this purple revolution don't. It's going to take a couple of things. Are you willing to step up to vote the Republican Party out? Because that's where the problem lies. Are you able to admit?
See. Yes, vote the Republicans out. Yes, but going back to what I'm going back to the other part, Tabitha, is the idea voting for politicians who trying to change the definition of what is a woman. Women are now called birthing persons. Women are now called other things other than a woman. There are some within the ranks of the left who don't value women as women. They take the feminist argument, turn it upside down, and bastardize what is equal rights, what is fairness. Now, if a man wants to become a woman, and if a woman becomes a man, that's their business. But it's a problem when we're cheering on children and we're giving children puberty blockers when they're not even fully aware or never been an adult to make that decision. They don't have a mind of their own during their adolescence. That's why people are not voting Democrat next year, and assure them not and assure them not going to vote Democrat in 2028 until the Democratic Party purge that out of the party, purge that thinking out. You can't just say though. You can't just tell everybody vote out the Republicans, vote out MAGA. Yes, I agree. Vote out MAGA, but you can't do that when the other side, the side you want to win, has an issue of what I just stated.
That the people that you've been voting for have brought us to this point. point? Too many of the videos that I've seen have been talking about both sides. Yeah, the Democrats got issues, but the Democrats never talked about taking away your rights. The Democrats have always fought for health care.
Yeah, but the problem is, Tabitha, right? The problem, Tabitha, is the Democrats. Well, I mean, those who are in the those who are in the East Coast and West Coast has been talking about gun control and take how much magazines, trying to hinder somebody's ability to protect him or herself from any intruder.
So, black people, y'all let me know. I ain't got nothing to do with this purple revolution. I don't trust any of these MAGA people, former MAGA people. I don't trust them at all.
And that's where I agree with you. I don't trust them. I don't. I don't trust Trump supporters. I don't trust people who are MAGA. I don't. I'm living in a red state, living in a red county, living in a red town. That's 95%, right? Or should say, no, it's more like 85%. 85% MAGA. You completely alone. I trust no one. Especially being a black man living in a white area. Still, I trust no one. Not at all. Especially in Trump's America. So it is what it is, but you see who's in the chat room. Children in public school have been exposed to right. I wouldn't call it woke, but go ahead. I understand what you mean by woke, but I wouldn't call it woke. But white church, yeah, you're right. White church have been teaching white supremacy. Mm-hmm. They have. But anyway, I said enough for today. Like, share, subscribe. That's all I'm going to say for right now. Y'all be easy. I might go live this afternoon, but right now I just got off from work, and I'm gonna take my black ass to bed. Hopefully, it's been a trying year for me. So anyway, see y'all next time, and I'm out. Y'all have a good.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.